Hey, this is Brian Wright here for the Hive podcast, and I have a special guest. I am here with, introduce yourself.
Michael Hanson.
Michael Hanson. Michael is the voice inside the ring at Dirty Boxing. That's how we met. We actually go back before that. We actually circled each other at Friday Night Fights in New York City, but never officially made the connection until much later.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to have you come on because you're somebody, that I met in this life, and you have an interesting story. And honestly, you have a position that I don't think a lot of people know what it's about. How do you get it? Like, what inspires you to be a ring announcer? What's involved? So, you're a New York guy. I know you have an arts background, and I wanted to dive deeper into, what brought you from New York to the center of that iconic Dirty Boxing ring.
You hit all of the bullet points: New Yorker, arts background, and now ring announcing. Why am I crazy enough to want to do this job? Where should we begin? Yeah, I grew up in New York City, in and just outside of the city.
Where'd you grow up around the city, though? So, like, in one of the boroughs, or what?
I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
And when I was little, we moved just above the Bronx in a town called Pelham, which is part of Westchester County. And I'm a Westchester kid. I went to high school in New Rochelle. And I went to University of Connecticut, and I majored in acting. And because I wanted to be a professional actor. And I was. After I graduated, I traveled around the country doing a lot of regional professional theater.
What's the biggest thing you've done?
The biggest thing I've done, I've been in an off-Broadway play.
Nice.
In the city. But regionally, a lot of big roles in regional professional theaters, repertory theaters. And I was on the board of a classical theater based out of Brooklyn for a number of years.
Where did you get the theater bug? Like, at what age were you like, theater's something I'm interested in?
Not uncommon for straight guys who fail at sports to find their way into some outgoing, hammy thing like theater. I was always really creative. I thought I was going to go to school for art at one point because I was really good at drawing.
I know, and you've shown me your drawings. You are good at drawing. You have skills.
Thank you. Way back, a lifetime ago. But playing basketball and football, I dislocated my shoulder too many times. I'm like, I'm not built for this. And I quit sports pretty much other than like track, and I sucked at that. And I just auditioned for a school play, and I got like the lead.
What's the first play? What was it? Come on.
It was Once Upon a Mattress.
All right. Okay. And everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. And they say, why do guys get into theater to do the fights and to kiss the girls? So I got bit by the theater bug. I started taking it really, really seriously. I was like, this is my thing. Went to college for it, and I continued to do really well in my undergrad program. And I graduated 4 years later. I tried to hit the ground running. The artist's life is a hard one in the city. But I traveled around a bunch, did some things in New York, regionally, out here in the Midwest. I live in Michigan now, which we could circle back to. And let me see now. Let's try to link it to ring announcing. After college, now I graduated undergrad in 2008. In college and after is when the UFC was really blowing up. So me and all my boys back home would go to the bars to go watch the big UFC. I'm talking early, like Tito and Chuck rivalry, Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez, GSP in his early prime.
That's the golden era of the sport.
Yeah.
My son, so I don't want to cut you off, but my son and I watch, so I have an outdoor sauna, and like on Sundays we go and we sauna together, and he's Brian's like insane with the fights. So he always pulls up like the UFC channel on YouTube and we go through the fights. And he said to me like 2 weeks ago, he was like, man, because it's now and I'm watching now, and we always have this sense of like now is the best it ever was. Sometimes you don't give the past its due. And he's like, but we're watching all these old fights. And he's like, man, that was a special time. The drama of that time. And you as a theater guy, you definitely have seen the evolution of it being from this drama ridden, like they built tension and they told a story, to it being a little bit more antiseptic now.
Yeah. It felt huge back then.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
It was. I mean, the roster was only like 250 guys. Now it's like 2,500.
Wow. Yeah. So at one point, I had gotten bitten by the theater bug, which really was like the performing bug. I was just wanted to be creative and expressive and artistic in some way, whether it was drawing or singing or acting. And I also saw early Bruce Buffer, and also growing up, my father was a big boxing fan, and he would always put on like classic boxing fights of like, the Four Kings fights or like Muhammad Ali fights. And I'm also seeing Michael Buffer. And also I was a bit of a wrestling fan as a kid. And so, Michael Buffer did a bit of WCW and I think WWF back in the day, I think.
Yeah, he did WrestleMania.
So having like Michael Buffer was already like a part of American pop culture, like lore. And now like it's like the early 2000s. And we're seeing this other guy named Bruce Buffer who kind of resembles Michael Buffer and he has the same last name. So people are already like, are they like related or something? Like if your last name is Buffer and you're related to this family, do you have to like be a ring announcer?
And play poker.
And in my 20s there, my delusional head that just wanted to perform and do things, I also started picturing myself in that kind of a job. And I was just like, one day, I want to do that. I want that job. How do you get that job?
Okay, I'm coming to that. I got to ask you on that. So you're seeing this and you want to do it. Did you feel like there was a barrier between what you wanted to do? Did you feel like there was a barrier? Did you feel like there was just like a skill set you had to learn and you had to like get into it? Because that's a lot of times people, when they see other people, especially on TV or streaming or whatever the hell we want to call it today, they feel like it's not that accessible. And I was that way with fighting. Like I grew up, reading these magazines and seeing guys that became my heroes. And I never felt there was a barrier. I always thought people were just people. And I would make calls and find people and say like, can I come train or can I fight on your promotion or whatever? I never felt like there was a separation between me and anyone else.
By barrier, you mean like barrier of entry into the industry?
Did you feel like there was like this massive gap, or were you like, this is something I can do?
It was something that I felt I had the ability to do, and I could see myself doing it and doing it well. And that was just my secret dream. But to your point, it's just like, how could I ever try to, there's no job postings.
No.
There's you can't go on Indeed and look up freaking ring announcer jobs. So Brian, for years, I could not stop thinking about ring announcing.
That's awesome.
For years, throughout my 20s.
You're obsessed.
I would, at the time, because I also like was pursuing the dream of like becoming a successful actor, and I had survival jobs.
You're a closet ring announcer.
Right. I have this stupider dream on the back burner of being a ring announcer, and I would like be commuting to my survival job in my car, thinking about ring announcing. And I mean, like I was like vexed by it. I was like, fuck, like this is gonna like pass me by. How can I get some opportunity to do this? This sucks, because this is like, I think I could be freaking good at this. So enough time went by, and I just started Googling mixed martial arts promotions in and around New York City. And I would just either find a company email, info at whateverfightpromotion.com, or DM them on their Instagram or something. And it was mostly just radio silence. And then one day, Friday Night Fights replied to my email,
Did you
and
get
they
it
were
from
like,
Justin himself?
"No, I got it from the production director, Lauren."
Okay.
And she said, "Hey, yeah, thanks for your email. Send us a demo." And I was like, I was so shocked that someone replied to me. And I was like, I got to make a demo. I don't have a ring announcing demo.
That's awesome, though.
So I was like 3 months newlywed. I walk out of my bedroom with my jaw agape, and my wife is like, "What's up?" And I told her I spilled the whole thing. I was like, "Babe,
This is who you thought you married, but you really married a closet ring announcer."
I was like, babe, it's a kickboxing company. It's Muay Thai, but it's not. Don't think about that right now. I asked them if I could be their ring announcer, and they wanted a demo. And she was like, "Great." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I told her this whole thing about how I always wanted to try to do this. And my wife, God bless her, from moment one, she was always like, "Hell yeah, do it." So like I said, I was 3 months newlywed. So I had my tux from my wedding,
Oh my
and I
God.
called up my best friend who has a nice camera, took the train downtown to his apartment, stood in front of his living room wall. I held an index card. I overnighted. I paid a little extra for Amazon for like a $6 microphone. And I paid a little extra to have that shit overnighted. And I stood in front of his wall, and I did like a ring announcing spiel. I did a little edit, and I sent it off. And then Lauren said, she emailed me a few days later. She said, "Justin wants to speak with you." I was like, "Oh shit." And I make a long story short, I got on the phone with Justin Blair, who was the president at the time of Friday Night Fights. And he said, "What are you doing on I think it was December 20th of 2019? And that was my first time ring announcing, was with Friday Night Fights.
Justin's that guy, though. Justin gets mixed reviews from people, but Justin put on the best kickboxing show I've ever participated in on a regional level. Like, he put on a great show. You felt special on that show. And he would use people like yourself to be the ring announcer. And, it just, when he did the shows in the basement of the church, you felt like that was amazing. And then the ones that we did in the financial district, I mean, I had
Broad
guys
Street
on every year of that show from the inception. Justin's a guy that, again, he comes with mixed reviews from people, but I've never disrespected what he did with that show and what he was able to accomplish for so long. I do miss it. I don't think anyone's doing anything in the area anymore like that. My guys that fought on it, they go to shows and they're like, "Oh, this sucks. Like, where's Friday Night Fights? We need Justin back." But I don't know if he'll ever come back. But that's whole nother story.
Well, Warriors Cup kind of picked up the mantle from Friday Night Fights.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it picked up the mantle. It just started to exist, and that's where the fighters ended up going.
Well, they already existed. And then a couple of the guys that were sort of worked right with Justin, and they were like his hires, they left him during COVID, and they joined up with Warriors Cup, which was already like 40 events deep.
Yes.
I think.
That was Chris Tran had been doing that
Chris
for
Tran.
years.
Shout out to Chris Tran. Because what happened was, I did 3 events with Friday Night Fights. And remember I said it was December 20th of 2019.
Yeah.
So I did their December show, and then they had a January show, and then a February show. And I was like, this is great. I figured a gig every 4 weeks. I can get used to this. And then COVID. And I was like, the world shut down. And I was, selfishly, I was like, I guess this is over. This is fucking over.
The whole fucking world was over.
Yeah. So Friday night fights never came back
No.
from COVID because during that time, you know, Warriors Cup kind of absorbed a couple of the Friday night fights crew and decided to do their own thing. That's all I know about that. I don't know if it was bad blood or anything like that between
I don't
Justin and
even know
them.
the story either. I haven't, like, when he went away, like, I just didn't talk to those guys, and I didn't move on to Warriors Cup or any of that stuff. So I don't have dirt. All I know is I talked to Justin at one point, and I was like, "Hey man, are you going to come back?" And he was like, "I don't know. I'm kind of comfortable not being the bad guy anymore." He was still doing video production stuff for people, and he was selling
Right.
gym equipment because he got really involved with CrossFit,
Yeah.
and he sounded happy. I mean, so
Sure.
he had his run, man, and that run was cool. And I mean, you got the ability to stand in that ring at the end, and
Yeah.
that's cool, man. You were part of
Yeah, that is true. I was the last ring announcer for Friday Night Fights, but I also can't ever say a bad word about Warriors Cup because they hired me during the pandemic. You know, coming out of it, I think it was not until 2021 they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do our show?" We're like,
Yeah.
"We're cool." They said, "We're cool if you want to keep doing Friday Night Fights too, but you want to do our show too?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
I
why
was
not?
like, "Oh, this is great," even though Friday Night Fights never came back. But then it basically was everything kind of shifted over to Warriors Cup in the city, and I was their ring announcer for like 3 years, and we did a ton, maybe like 20 plus events with them. And in the meantime, my wife and I moved out to Michigan for her job. So we're here now. So I kept flying myself back and forth to New York to do Warriors Cup. And then ultimately, I couldn't sustain the travel. But all love to Warriors Cup. I love them. I love Justin, who's the ring announcer who took over for them. He's also like my guy. So we've been growing ever since.
You got to do those reps though, and
Yeah.
so you paid your own way to go back and do Warriors Cup.
I did.
But I understand that, but you got to do the reps. That's how
And
you
to be
build up.
fair to them, they stuck to their budget and they were like, if you want to do it, we love you. We'll keep you having you, but like this is what we can afford.
But that's reality.
Yeah.
And
I got it. I
and if
understood.
you're going to go above and beyond, you're going to be able to get the reps. Like
Right.
you're going to be able to get in there, and yeah, you got your time.
And at that time, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I don't think a lot of young people understand is that just because you feel you're talented doesn't mean that, everyone's going to invest in you. And if you really want it and they're not investing in you, sometimes you have to invest and you have to take risks and you got to put yourself in positions where you're going to get the reps, you're going to get the exposure, you're going to learn the craft.
Right.
You don't just get in there with a card and a microphone and go a name. Like,
Right.
I mean, dude, you're a professional.
Thanks, man. And in terms of like, yeah, I think you said the word investment, and that's exactly how I viewed it. Those early years, those first events with Friday Night Fights, those first couple of years with Warriors Cup, I viewed it as both a literal and a figurative of myself investing in this as a side career.
Yeah. I mean, as an amateur fighter, shit, man, I was literally paying to fight. It's no different.
Right.
No different.
I would be embarrassed to share how little I was compensated for those first 3 Friday Night Fights cards. But it is what it is. I would tell anybody else, and I have told other young aspiring MCs and ring announcers, like, look, man, you got to be willing to do it for basically free.
Yep.
You got to cut your teeth.
Exactly. I think that's like the biggest message I have constantly in all fields is like when you're young and you don't have experience and people don't know who you are, if you have talent, man, go out there and be undeniable. Go out there and put yourself out there, and you might fall on your face and then you got to get up and you got to do it again. Or you might be amazing off the rip. You never know, but you're not going to know anything until you actually try. You've got to risk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really funny with DBX. I basically created my position with the show. I was sitting in the sauna with my son and he was like, yo, you got to check this thing Primo's doing. And I was like, show me. And then he put it on and we got 2 fights in and it was the St. John's original fight with Silva. And then I forget the other fight, but I was like, Forget about the fights. The production on this is amazing. Like, this is something I want to be involved in. I literally texted Primo, I said, give me a call. And I was like, yo, I want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
how do I get involved in this? And he
There
was
you
like,
go.
I would love to have you involved, but I don't know how. And I was like, well, I'm a coach. Let me be like the coach analyst. And he was like, oh, well, we can kick you like in the second round and you can give your opinion. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. If that's
Yeah,
what you
man.
want to do, fine. I was like, dude, I would put chairs out. I didn't care. I just wanted to get there, get in the
Yeah.
room, and let people see that I'm there and figure out how to use me best. You
Yeah.
know, I was like, this is something I believed in it right off the bat, and I was like, let's go for it. I've done that a bunch of times in my career. I'm a little crazy like that, but I think if you ever want to get somewhere, you know, if you want to get out of where you are, you have to do these things.
Yeah. You kind of just have to make it happen sometimes.
Yeah. So where do you go? So I mean, we're only in 26. So you go to Warriors Cup, and then what happens from there?
From Warriors Cup, there was a couple other promotions mixed in there. I During COVID, during 2020, this company out of Brazil contacted me called Tora. That was a shit show.
You went
That
to
guy was.
Brazil.
They flew me to Brazil for my fourth time ever ring announcing. I was like, holy shit!
Did you go by yourself?
I did.
Where in Brazil?
It was real.
Did you get robbed?
I did not get robbed because it was just like straight from the airport to the hotel in the
That
shuttle.
happened to me. I got my fighter's manager got robbed in front
Oh
of like the
God.
Ritz Carlton in the Copacabana Beach.
No, I did not go out exploring by
No,
myself. No, 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 no.
don't do it there.
Was the only time that I ever got stiffed was from Toro. They stiffed everybody. It was one of those situations where they promised the moon to everybody, but at least I didn't come out of pocket for anything. They flew me. They bought my flights. I think he just bit off flame. And he was like booking like, former UFC guys, retired UFC. He booked Bigfoot Silva. He booked Palhares.
The
They ended
biggest
up
mistake these guys make is they go on the retirement tour for the names and they think these guys
Right.
have star power and they're going to make $1 billion and be the next big thing. And it's like you borrowed from Peter to pay Paul and then you got nothing left because you didn't sell enough tickets. And I see this story over and over again. It's like,
Yeah.
I get it. You have a dream, but you need a good accountant.
Yeah, yeah. I also I announced for Lion Fights at one point, and
That's a
it
shit
kind of
show,
fell
too,
apart.
the way
That's a
that
shit
fell
show
apart.
too. Yep. I did get paid, but he's always. We don't have to talk about that.
I think just Google it and you'll find all this.
Google it, you'll find
There's
out.
a great
Yeah.
Reddit thread about that.
Yes, probably a few. But I kept going with Warriors Cup was like my one steady promotion, and then I saw that Anthony Pettis was starting his own promotion in MMA, and I know that he's a Milwaukee guy, and I'm like, well, I live in Michigan now, so like, again, like, how can I make this happen? And on his Instagram and his social media, he's got like 1 million followers. I'm going to give this one away. I looked to see if Anthony Pettis himself had a LinkedIn account because I was like, if he does, then he probably won't have as many like connections.
Yeah.
And he did. And so I DM'd Anthony Pettis on LinkedIn. And I sent it. At that point, I had like footage and a reel, and I've been ring announcing for a few years. And he replied to me. He was like, thanks, send your stuff to this email address, which was his director of operations, Damien. And they didn't use me for their first show. I think I just never heard back. And I was like, oh, okay. But it was pretty cool that like Anthony Showtime Pettis replied to me. So their first show came and went, and I was like, okay, I didn't book that one, but we're hustling. And then months later, I got a DM from the APFC Instagram account asking if I was available to do their second show. And so I did that, and I hopped on with them, and I was their guy for a few years, like 4 years.
Yo, man, you got a hustle to you. I love it.
Yeah.
Man, you definitely go after the things you want. I love that. I gotta respect that.
In a way, in my own way. I'm not as type A as my wife, but I get shit done when I need to.
Yeah, but I think that's the value of the creative background too, because in the arts, they don't come to you, man. They don't come to you. You
It's
gotta
true.
go out and you gotta
Yeah.
you really gotta take the walk and you gotta knock on the doors and you gotta make the calls and you have to make the connections because it's not a traditional business model.
Right.
It's you and it's very competitive and there's a lot of rejection.
A lot of rejection.
So you're not afraid so much to make the calls because you're kind of used to people not returning them.
And you're used to like not taking it that personally.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
get
sometimes you still do because we all have egos in the arts because we all are delusional and think that we're talented.
well, and also you're afraid because like the one that you really want is the one that you get like the butterflies. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
please, please, please don't fuck this one up.
I mean, just to go on this little tangent a little bit, one thing I really liked about emceeing and ring announcing is that the career feels so much more in my control because a lot of the things that I did to go get work as an MC and as a ring announcer, you can't really do as an actor. Like you had to go through the whole
Yeah,
industry of going to calls, going to auditions, open calls, try to make it to a callback. I mean, eventually, if you start booking work, yes, some of your work will beget more work if through connections, but you're still auditioning a lot. Whereas with this, man, it's just everything we've been talking about. It's just like I reach out directly to a promoter and show them my face, show them my reel, whatever, and be like, "This is me. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to be considered."
that's what
And
I love about combat sports is that as structured as people think it is, I don't care if we're talking about the UFC, dirty boxing, BKFC, whatever. They're all a little Wild West. They're a little shooting from the hip. There's
yeah,
always an opportunity if you could give the right presentation to the right guy, there's a job for you to be had. Like if you're really that
yeah,
obsessed with the industry and you can bring some value to it, you can make your place. Look at my son. My
yeah,
son's 12 years old and literally was like, when I said that Primo and I are going to do something, he was like, I want to go. And I said, but if you go, you got to do something. He
yeah.
goes, well, we'll bring a camera and a mic and I'll just start interviewing people and I'm going to become Brian the interviewer. And I mean, 2.2 million views later after 60 days of doing it, like this kid went from sweating with me in the sauna watching YouTube to like
Yeah.
making himself a little thing. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is amazing. I love it.
Is
So
Brian the
yeah.
interviewer?
Yeah, he's Brian. He's legitimately Brian the interviewer.
And he's asking Brian Battle why his name is spelled funny.
And
It's so
asking John
perfect.
Jones to give his principal a message so that he doesn't get in trouble for skipping school. Like
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it's
And
perfect.
it's awesome too. So Alan comes with us and Alan films.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Alan, after the first Dirty Boxing, we're there. We're in the hotel room, and he goes, "I've been at Killer B for I don't know, maybe 9 months." And he goes, "Because of that, I just met John Jones, and I just met Mike Perry, and I
Yeah.
just met Gable Stevenson.
Yeah.
This is really crazy." And I was just
Crazy.
laughing. I was like, again, that's why when I was talking about the separation. So many people feel like there's this massive separation between where we are,
Right.
where we want to be, who we are, who we want to be, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, but if you really want to, if you want to do something, if you want to be involved in something, I mean, you just have to figure out what are the steps I got to take, and you got to go for it. And if no one's giving you the steps to take, sometimes you just got to start walking in that direction and just pay attention and make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like to your point, it's like surely there's something that you could do to get yourself in. Like even if you're stacking chairs.
Yo, Ring of Fire is the predecessor to LFA. Sven Bean ran Ring of Fire right outside of Denver, Colorado. And I started a clothing brand called Real Fight Gear. And I couldn't afford the fee to be a sponsor. I called up Sven. He didn't know who I was, but I knew who he was. We had mutual acquaintances. And I was like, I know this guy, you know that guy, whatever. And he was like, okay, cool. I was like, I don't have the money to sell my shirts, but I see you have shirts. What if I run your table for you and I'll help you set the event up? And he was like, you'll be free labor? I was like, absolutely. And he literally paid my way to go and gave me a hotel room
Wow.
let me sell my gear if I sold his shirts as well. So I set up a table and I sold my stuff and I sold the Ring of Fire merch and I set the chairs and tables up for the event. And I basically, with the joke was we were chair bitches. So I was a chair bitch for his show in exchange for selling my stuff. And then he literally gave me the platform to take it from, I mean, I'm losing money at these events to where I'm making a couple grand a month selling shirts to people at his events.
That's awesome.
He never charged me for it. And he always let me just come as long as I helped out in some way. And I just kind of became part of the family for a little while.
That's amazing.
It was wild. But again, that was just another one where I wanted to do something and I found somebody that respected the hustle and they gave me an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I've done it a dozen times in my life in many different ways where I've just kind of figured stuff out. But, you know, that's the thing. Martial arts is a creative field. Combat sports is a creative field. It's a little Wild West. It's fun. If you're willing to get your hands dirty, you'll always have something to do. You can either get in the ring or you could help someone get in the ring or help somebody set the ring up and you've got yourself a job.
Yeah.
It's wild.
100%.
There's a woman in the UFC, Mackenzie. I think she started off with their social media stuff, and now she's a cage side reporter, and she's like on the rise. She graduated from the high school of where I live.
No way.
Yeah, I was at was it Azerbaijan? I think I was at, and one of my corner guys was like, "Yo, I graduated with her," and I'm like, "No way."
Wow.
And so we go up to her and we're like, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh, you remember me?" And she's like, "Yeah, you were the idiot." No, sorry, Stein, I'm busting you already. But we introduced, we talked, and she's like, "I'm from Ocean Township. I went to Ocean Township High School," and then she was like, "I went to Communication High School," and she literally then she gave me some advice for my son. Because I was like, yo, I have a 12-year-old son. She was like, I was him once. She was like, I went to Communication High School, which is a specialized school. And then from there, I got a job. I think she was working for like NFL for like a second, then got picked up by the UFC, moved to Vegas, and like literally went from high school to whatever. But like it all started early, and she never gave up on the dream, and then got the dream job, and now she's like off and running with the UFC. And my son was inspired by her story, you know? That's awesome. Why my son was like, I got to get started because if I want to end up there, I gotta get going. So yeah, it's wild. So now, who hooked you up with dirty boxing?
It was our friend Jason Anik.
How'd you meet Jason?
Just to rewind a little bit, I'm with APFC now, and I'm pretty solid with them. I'm their guy. And APFC already was like, I've made it. Like, this is a dream. This is a dream job. This is the dream. This is the dream. I'm at events and I'm literally pinching myself. Well, I shouldn't say that, not literally, but I'm in front of 2,000 people at like the casino in Milwaukee, which turns out for Pettis.
Yeah.
And
he's the hometown hero.
He's the hometown hero. He's been given like the key to the city in the past. And, we have Anthony Showtime Pettis. He always brings huge guests. Poirier's there. Or John Jones was there at one of the earlier ones. Tony Ferguson. Nate Diaz has been a guest. CM Punk has been a guest. So it's like, like I said, I'm just pinching myself. And we're getting to do the damn thing in MMA, which is like my passion. One of the guests that he had was Bilal Muhammad, who at the time started a podcast with John Anik's brother, Jason Anik. So they came as a pair, the two of them, to be a guest, and also they both hopped on the play-by-play table and put on some headsets, because Jason, from meeting him, I understood that he also wanted to get his feet wet in commentary as well. And they came back and did it again. I don't know if it was the very next event. I think it was. So I got to work with Jason twice. And Jason, he's the best.
He's such a good dude.
Easy to become fast friends with Jason. And Jason makes you feel like you are like his best friend in the world. He's like that with everybody. The most gregarious, outgoing guy.
He's giving.
And so giving. And they weren't brought back to APFC, but I kept in touch with Jason over time. And then he got involved. Jason got involved with DBX as they came into form. I'm sure I reached out to DBX when they were like forming as well, because we're still hustling,
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah, yeah.
And DBX's did their premiere event, and then they did DBX1 and DBX2. And then Jason himself reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, I think they might be looking for somebody else, somebody new in their ring announcer role. Would you want me to put your name out there?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And next thing I know, I'm on the phone with Primo Kawa, and I got booked for DBX3. And
That's
here we
amazing.
are.
I
Here we
think I
are.
watched three. I watched four. Had just happened, and I watched three, and then a little bit of four. That's when I made my phone call. And I'll tell you my Jason story, which was cool. Was so I go down for wait. What did we just do 5?
Yes.
All right, so I went down for 4. So I went to Nashville for 4. So I watched 3 and then I went to 4. So between 3 and 4, I finagled my way into the situation. So I get involved, and then when I got there, Jason was like, "Hey, I saw that pitch video you did on Instagram. You're going to be just fine." And I was like, "Okay, I can do
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
good." Like, it was cool. Like, he gave me he was like, "Yeah, you have nothing to worry about. Put the headset on and just you be you. You'll be fine." And I was like, "Okay." And then afterwards, the schmo was amazing with me too. He was like, "Yo, he was like, you're a natural." That was good. And then Jason was like, "You're good." And then I was excited to come back for the next one. And then the last one, I feel like the cohesion of the group is really starting to come together. And I feel like we
Yeah.
actually have a team now.
Yeah, it's coming together. It's gelling for sure.
I think the whole show is gelling. The last show, I think production was better. I think the guys that were running production were on point, and it was a lot of fun. And we didn't get the knockouts that the previous shows got, but there was an evolution in the ring, and it was just it's like a baby sport we're watching grow up.
Yep.
And we get to be a part of it. It's fun.
It's really exciting. I'm very excited to see how the entire sport kind of evolves, how fighters fight within the rule set.
I agree. My interest is, how is the public support going to stay? How is this show going to continue to evolve with its relationship with the fight community? And the fighters already have been making massive jumps. I think the fights are the easy part. I think the cultural aspect of it is the kind of unknown. I think it's done amazing. I mean, the numbers for a show on YouTube of this size, it's amazing. I mean, they're doing big numbers. They got a lot of people paying attention, and it's not a freak show. Like I went to BKFC, and I felt like I went to WrestleMania. I didn't feel like I was at a fight event. I felt like I was at a spectacle. When I go to Dirty Boxing, I feel like I'm at a fight. I feel like there's going to be a fight. You know, Mike Perry's always saying violence, violence, violence. It's not violent to me, Dirty Boxing. Yes, all combat sports are violent to a degree, but it's a technical fight. It's not just winging away. It's not like BKFC. The minute somebody gets hit, there's a cut and it's over, and it's kind of grotesque, and they, you know, the smoke gets. And the big thing. Dirty Boxing really has a sport feel. I keep telling everybody, and I express this to you, I was involved in K1 from the early days, and the heyday of K1 was when in Japan they had Pride versus K1. Pride was big, K1's big, but they were both having internal struggles, and they created this drama where the MMA guys would come and do kickboxing, and the kickboxers would go do MMA, and then it became this conversation of who's the best. Is it the MMA guys? Is it the kickboxing guys? Whatever. And that created natural drama. And then Mirko Krokop comes out of that. And then he goes to the UFC and, you know, he does his thing there after being, you know, a hammer in K1 and then a champion in Pride. And then he comes to the UFC. And like, it was just this weird time where like there was just so much drama and so much crossover. And I'm looking at DBX. I'm like, you've got boxing, you've got kickboxing, you've got MMA. And it's pushed. And you know, somebody said to me, "Oh, it's Muay Thai light," and I was like, "No, man, This is not Muay Thai light. This is unique. This is different. This is actually a sport. Like, these rules make a
Yeah.
lot of sense from a spectator point of view and from a fighter point of view. So like I think it's got a sprinkling of enough things that the kickboxers, the boxers, the MMA guys have this really interesting forum to kind of come and play and see, who can survive these rules.
I love the way that you formulated it once. I think at the hotel at the last event, that you called it like a meeting ground
Yeah.
between the best strikers, between boxing, kickboxing slash Muay Thai, and MMA. The best
Yes.
MMA strikers, this I feel like this would be perfect for like a Dustin Poirier, or even a Gaethje. The best guys from kickboxing and Muay Thai, and Lethwei maybe, and boxers.
Yeah, I think the problem with sports like this at this time is that, it's an infant, so the funding is not the best. I mean, they're not paying massive numbers out to these guys. But as the fan base grows and the money gets better, I am so looking forward to some legit boxers coming in. That's going to be really cool. Because we've got some fringe boxers doing really well.
Right.
And guys that, like, they felt like careers were over. Like that Zuniga guy. Like, I was at a fighter meeting with him, and he had this really bad self-deprecating sense of himself at the meeting because boxing kind of chewed him up and spit him out in a lot of ways, and this was a new life for him, and he went out there and put on a show, had a great time, showboated. I mean, he tore up a guy that everybody thought was going to kill him, and I was like, this is why I love this sport, because it's new and we don't know what's going to happen. Just because you're a good kickboxer doesn't mean you can box. Just because you were able to bang out in MMA doesn't mean you can do this. And just because you can box doesn't mean you can do this either, because there are going to be elbows. Like, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Munoz, was it? The one, he was more of a Muay Thai fighter. He lost.
Yep. Versus Haskell.
Yes.
Haskell?
But came up in weight. Elbows were great. Different kind of footwork. Like, he really excelled in that environment. I thought it was amazing. It was so much
Haskell
fun to
Rhodes
watch.
came out really hot, and he clearly had the boxing pedigree. I thought Munoz was going to get knocked out in like 90 seconds.
I agreed with you.
Dude, he bit down on his mouthpiece, and he started throwing elbows. And he's like, I'm at least going to go down doing my thing.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, you can see Haskell Rhodes was like, I'm not comfortable having like bony elbows being thrown at my face and spinning attacks. And it put him a little bit out of his element. And all of a sudden, even though Haskell Rhodes won that fight, I felt like that was a moral victory for the MMA guys.
Yo, I think I said in my breakdown, I was like, honestly, I don't know if I would re-sign Rhodes, but I would 100% sign Munoz. And they did. They signed him to a multi-fight deal. I thought
Tough as nails, that guy.
fantastic.
So the question is, I had my own personal evolution of when I was getting signed to DBX and thinking more and more about the sport and the rule set, and thinking like, oh, this is so cool. It's boxing, kind of a hybrid of boxing and MMA. You can throw elbows, you can throw spinning attacks, you can hit a guy on the ground. And I'm like, but if we want to be striking, why do they allow kicks and knees? And then I'm like, oh, but then it's just Muay Thai.
Well, you want to know what's great? Have you watched Karate Combat?
Of course.
I watched Karate Combat the other night, and I have to say, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I'm going to. It was unwatchable.
Oh, how
Compared
come?
to what DBX is doing, the last one. The matchmaking was horrendous. The crowd was like it was a misusage of the fan base. The guys it was too spectacle. It was sloppy. The ground and pound was too MMA. It was sloppy and it was mismatched. And my son and I turned it off halfway through. We were like, this is boring.
Interesting.
It was not pulling me in. It was poor. It was a poor execution. And also, Karate Combat did start off. It was supposed to be traditional point karate, like Wuko, Waco guys, like the like real traditional guys, not Kyokushin, full contact fighting. For them to be able to do traditional karate in a full contact environment, see what happens. And then the guy, I can't remember his name right now, that Dana Brown guy, he came in and he basically just turned it into a free for all now. Now it's kind of like it went from you couldn't throw a leg kick like a Muay Thai kick, it had to be like a snap kick, to then no, let's just make it Muay Thai with little gloves, and then it was like, well, let's bring MMA guys in and let them out like throw people, and it just got weird, and it's too much of a spectacle to me. DBX has enough drama and sport without the spectacle right now to keep me engaged, and that's what I like about it.
So bringing it back to dirty boxing, the question that I roll around in my head a lot at these events is, does the skill set favor boxers too much? Or are we at the sweet spot? Or maybe they've already tweaked it a little bit. Yep. Like I think they eliminated clinching, no hugging, which is a tactic that I think boxers would be more comfortable utilizing to their advantage at times in fights. So they said they got rid of that.
I don't want to take credit. But I did make a call, and I said, you might want to adopt the K1 rule set of no defensive clinching. And they were like, yeah, we've been throwing that around. And I was like, you should maybe go to like the Pride yellow-red card situation. And then I got a call going, oh yeah, we're going to get rid of hugging. So I don't know. I may have been a part of that evolution, because I watched it. The first couple was like, wait a minute, way too much clinching going on. But yeah, man, you get rid of the hugging, as they call it. Yeah, boxers, they got to watch now.
So the three aspects, right? If we're going to sort of paint in broad strokes here with kickboxing, boxing, and MMA, I feel like, and I'm interested to bounce these off of you, I worry that kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters might overall just feel kind of handicapped. I think you're going to get great MMA strikers who are great at striking within the MMA context, who are going to be licking their chops coming into the ring for the most part, thinking, I don't have to worry about wrestling. And I'm a Dustin Poirier, I'm a Justin Gaethje, and I just want to throw caution to the wind. And this is a place where I really can do that.
My dream
and then
is
you
Max Holloway.
Or Max Holloway. Or Sean O'Malley. We can name a handful of guys. And then you're going to have boxers who, on the one hand, I think are coming in and thinking, this is really just boxing, and I'm going to clean up here, and I'm going to eat. But they might become uncomfortable as they deal with some attacks that they've never experienced before. So the question again is like, are we in the sweet spot, or do we need another tweaker or two or something like that? What do you think?
I think that the rules as they are good. I think the referees have to be trained to enforce the rules a little bit better. I think the last show, the rules were definitely better than, like, 5 was better than 4 with enforcement, for sure. So the kickboxers and boxers have the ring in common. The shoes are something that the boxers have. The elbows are something that the Muay Thai fighters know, but the kickboxers don't know. The elbows and the ground and pound are something that the MMA guys know. Like, there's just a sprinkling enough of everything to where they can express themselves. Honestly, and I'm a lifelong kickboxer, I think the boxers and the MMA guys are going to dominate. Kickboxers tend to not be able to box. Kickboxers are not good punchers. The stance is not right. I pointed out in the middle of the main event on 5 with Clark, where she fights she would get low with a wider stance, and she would sit on her punches and she would land, but then she would get mobile, and then she would be more upright. Her feet would come closer together, and that was more of a kickboxing style. She would throw her punches and she would get stuck and then get clacked with the counter. Kickboxers are not good at just punching. They have to be able to fire a leg off of it to adjust range and stuff. So they get stuck a little bit, and their stance are a little off. DBX 4, there was the one knockout with the uppercut. I can't remember the two guys. The one guy got uppercutted into oblivion, and that was because he came in a kickboxing stance. The other guy half-stepped to a lower stance, bang, because the chin was hanging out. So there's little subtle differences in the style. MMA guys tend to be a little bit lower. Boxers tend to be a little lower. The kickboxers are riding high and they're getting caught with stuff. But then again, you got a guy like Munoz who embraced riding high and just went hell bent. He didn't try and box. He just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna throw elbows."
Yeah.
Great. And then,
Loved it.
yo, the Korean guy loved it. Loved
Oh,
that. Dude.
the hippo.
Loved it. He just came out loose, throwing, and he even got caught with a couple spinning elbows and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be an adaptive style. I don't know if we really have to tweak the rules so much. I think we got to live with them for now. I think that the guys are going to just start adapting to it, and it'll be interesting. The one I threw out, I'm curious. Did you agree with the main event? I don't want to cause problems for either one of us, but did you agree with the decision in the main event?
I thought it was a very close and competitive fight overall. Neither girl blew the other one away, but I thought that Jessie was more active. I thought she was more active.
I thought she scored more points, yeah.
I thought she scored more. I thought that she did, yeah. I think some of Paola's punches seemed a bit more consequential, some of her power punches, but if I was a judge, I would have scored it for the red corner.
If I throw one or two consequential punches around and I'm getting touched by a lot more, yeah, it comes down to what the judge is going to think. I truly think they should.
It was a split, and exactly, like it was a split. The closeness, I think, is reflected in the fact that it did result in a split decision on the three judges' scorecards.
The only thing I'll say is if they do run it back, I think it has to be a co-main, not a main, because I think the one thing about DBX is that the knockout rate is important to the fan base, and the women tend to not have the power to knock it out unless you're. What was it?
B-Win and
Young, was it? Was
it? Yes.
Yep.
Young?
Oh my God, that was a knockout. Where the hell was that in the beginning of the fight? That was an amazing end. But why'd you wait so long? That was that was there. Whew, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
But that's what I think's so cool about this is that as spectators, we almost get brainwashed into believing certain things because MMA is so popular now. Like if someone's been on a certain show, we just assume they're super special. But in this hybrid rule set, somebody from nowhere can be special overnight. And this is that opportunity. Hey man, you and I are two guys that basically, figured out a way to create space for ourselves.
Yeah.
DBX is 100% designed for somebody with the skills and the drive to get themselves into that ring. You make a couple phone calls and you show the desire to be in there and you've got some experience. I'm pretty sure AJ will do his homework and get you in there if you belong.
For sure. Yeah.
I have to say, I watch a lot of fights. My biggest complaint about shows is that they're very heavily one-sided. It's always like there's always an A and B side, and you're like 99% of the A side's going to win. You can see that it's a setup. There's a relationship between the matchmaker and this and that and whatever, and you're like, ugh, okay, it's going to be a bloodbath. AJ has been putting on cards that every single participant has a chance. Even Mr. Mustache guy, who I thought was going to get annihilated, went the distance. And it was amazing. Amazing. To just see, AJ really is crafting these cards. He's not just throwing who's available and who will accept the pay. He's putting guys that are going to be competitive fights, and I love that. I love that.
To back it up for a second, to go back to something you said earlier, so the question is, with an ever-expanding combat sports world, can dirty boxing, the promotion and the sport itself, as I think it's rightfully can be called a new combat sport with this new rule set, can it shoulder its way into the American psyche, the pop culture world of sports, and be its own thing and really establish itself the way that the UFC did back in the 90s and early 2000s?
I truly believe it can. If BKFC can do what it's doing, dirty boxing can do something here. I always felt that K1 could have been bigger, but the mistake it made was that its Asian leadership never catered to an international audience outside of like some weird, French and Dutch people that like Japanese stuff. It was weird. But I feel that the rule set and the outcomes and the production quality is enough to make a name. I mean, I could easily see an ESPN or a Netflix picking this up and doing
Yeah.
something with it.
Anybody, I think they'd be happy to have this
Yeah.
on their channel.
Did you see Gina Carano is going to fight Ronda Rousey?
I did.
Yeah. This is the Netflix revenge tour because Paramount came in and killed the UFC deal with Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Paramount is now messing with the WB deal that Netflix had. So Netflix is like, okay, fine. We're going to go to your buddy, Mr. UFC, Jake Paul, and we're going to work with him to do MMA now. This is, I walk around going, who's going to mess with the UFC? PFL, I have zero interest in the PFL. It does nothing for me. Even if the fights are good, they don't do anything for me. I don't know. They don't invest in making me feel like I should watch. Where now I'm like, wait a minute, this thing popped up, and I'm like, I thought there was no second place to the UFC. They haven't even done a show, and I'm saying, if Netflix is going to do this, I feel like we may have something else to watch.
Because PFL is just not different enough. They're just not offering a different enough product because they're offering exactly what the UFC offers.
With names you don't know.
With names that you don't know as much or know at all. And but they don't want to be a regional show. They want to be on the level of the UFC and compete with UFC and say we're a global brand as well. But they're competing directly with the UFC and offering exactly what the UFC does, which is MMA, which I think Dirty Boxing has a chance because they truly have something novel and new and interesting.
I've always found in business that every time I've tried to emulate somebody else to like make money, it's never worked. I've only been successful when I've been true to who I am in whatever it is I'm doing. And I feel like Dirty Boxing just has to stay Dirty Boxing. They understand the organization, like the organizational aspect of the UFC in terms of that nobody runs a better show than the UFC. And from stem to stern, from the signing of the fights to getting the fighters to the venue to the hotels, like their entire operation, it's a machine. And Dirty Boxing, because First Round Management's involved and they've been to so many of the shows, they know what it takes to run a show operationally, and they are copying that blueprint. But in terms of the execution of the show itself, it's a little bit of that UFC professionalism, but the rules and the fights and the fighters and what they're trying to do, as long as they stay true to that, if Dirty Boxing stays Dirty Boxing and it doesn't try to become spectacle, I think it just has to stay that proving ground, that place where these guys are going to meet. And if it just maintains that, it'll figure itself out. And I've been saying from the beginning that you've got to get the fans of boxing, kickboxing, MMA to come and defend their guys. So you need the boxing community to not be what it. Boxing, I don't know if boxing will ever come because those guys they just live in an alternate universe. They don't.
Right.
It's really funny. My Paul Carascolo was my original boxing coach. He was an amazing guy. He passed away a couple of years ago, but Paul, he started training MMA fighters. And he always was like, you fucking kickboxers, you're dirty fighters. And then he met MMA guys and he's like, my God, this should be illegal. This is ridiculous. And I was like, Paul, you do realize more people die in boxing than any other combat sports. But they die honorably.
Oh,
There's
God.
honor there. Like he would defend it to no end. Like he was team boxing through and through, noble sport. Like hardcore boxers, they don't see anything except boxing. But I think there is a segment of boxing, the celebrity boxing crowd, I think, would like this. And I think kickboxers do want to see, kickboxers, they get nerdy about kickboxing and they want to see their guy win. And MMA people are, they're fanatical fans as well. So I say, let's all bring ourselves into this arena that's dirty boxing and let's play around with the idea of who's going to be the best under these rules and let's have a good time.
Yeah. Meeting ground for the best strikers who want to prove that they are the best strikers between sports, between the best of MMA, striking, kickboxing, and boxing.
And I say, with nothing but respect, all the nerds of those sports should all come together and have a
Totally.
party around that ring and watch this thing happen.
Yeah.
Like, let's all geek out about what we like. Like, let's go see. Like, we've been talking shit saying kickboxers are so good, or my MMA guys are the best, or boxing's the greatest thing that ever happened. Well, let's all get together, and have a fight party, and let's find out.
Let's have Sean O'Malley versus Superbon in DVX.
Or let's have Andre Berto fight Mike Perry.
Isn't Berto retired and 30 pounds lighter?
Oh God! But I mean, according to the last broadcast, those two, they had very differing opinions of how it would go. So who knows? Maybe they should fight. I actually think if Mike Perry fights in DBX, I think that would be the one that'll be the first arena show. He is that star.
Oh, Mike Perry is
he's that
superstar. Superstar.
Yeah. I mean, if he wants to fight somebody under DBX rules, we don't do that in a small venue. I think that's when we go big. I think that's the one where that's the jumping the shark moment. I don't think it's ready for it yet, but I think that's the jumping the shark moment.
I think it is such a perfect venue for so many MMA fighters and kickboxers. But speaking about MMA, because we have seen in the past few years, we've seen a lot of MMA fighters who get they're tired of wrestling.
Yep.
And they want to strike. They want to strike. And a lot of them have gone over and done exhibition boxing matches. Come here, baby. Come to DBX. This is way more fun. And way more in your wheelhouse.
The thing that people don't understand is that the comfort of little gloves that MMA fighters, and that's the thing where like boxers have their shoes and their ring, but MMA guys have a comfort level with little gloves. And if you fight with big gloves, your style, you take a lot of damage off the glove. And then you take away that neutralizes a lot of your defense. You can't get hit as much. You have to move a little bit differently. And MMA guys, they have a unique way of fitting those little gloves in. So that's why I say like the MMA guys and the boxers have a really interesting battle here. I do think kickboxers are going to get chewed up a little bit because kickboxers, they're not comfortable with the little gloves and they don't usually have good boxing because their stances are a little too high and a little too square and they punch a little bit shorter. So again, that's like the sport that I cut my teeth in. And I'm like, yeah, but I think boxers can adapt. Kickboxers can adapt. I think everybody can adapt to the rules. And I mean, we've already seen it. I mean, there's a couple guys with 4 fights, and they've gotten better every time. There are guys that I'm watching fight too that they're not getting wins. And I'm like, man, they're getting better every time. Please don't cut them just yet. I don't think they fully run their course yet. So.
And to your point earlier about talking about celebrity boxing or influencer boxing, I think also, think about Jake Paul, signed with PFL and never actually fought. I mean, who knows why? I mean, he also was, boxing and making a lot of money doing that. He fought Mike Tyson. He just fought Anthony Joshua. Like, what if Jake Paul never went into boxing? Because he's flirted with the idea of taking an MMA fight. Maybe he never did because you get in there with like a blue belt who's just gonna, choke you out in 2 minutes.
Yeah. You can't run around. You can't run away from the fight in the cage.
But instead of going and fighting like a decorated championship boxer who's been boxing for since he was 13 years old, come to DBX, Jake Paul.
Yo, Mike Perry rematches Jake Paul in DBX.
Oh my God!
They already fought.
My brain would explode if I could announce that fight.
That's the mega fight right there. That's the mega fight.
Yeah.
That's the one that brings the eyeballs that's going to give the attention to everybody else on the card. That's the one you're going to tune in for, but you're going to run into a sport at that point. That's what I think.
What do you mean you're going to run into a sport?
Well, you would come for the spectacle of Jake Paul versus Mike Perry, but you would run into the sport of DBX and see an amazing undercard.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And that would be the point. Like, you want to see that.
By the end of 2026, let's do it. Main event.
Yo, Netflix just opened up down the street from me. They're building their largest studio in the United States in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Literally 5 minutes from my house. Let's get Netflix on board. Come on, guys. DBX needs a partner. Hey, ESPN's hungry for content. Netflix is pissed off at everybody. They need stuff. Hey, I think Netflix and DBX are a no-brainer. I think that's a home run.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Paramount. You know, the UFC's cornered that market. You got Zuffa Boxing over there.
Yeah,
Did you watch
yeah.
Zuffa Boxing?
I did.
What'd you think?
I think it's refreshing. I do.
I think it looks a little corporate right now. It's a
I
little
think that's the
stiff.
idea. It's kind of the idea.
I I don't love it or hate it. I'm kind of like okay about it right now. I think it's what boxing needs.
Yes.
I think it's the organization. Boxing doesn't have the structured star power that
Yep.
MMA has. And that's what they need. They need guys to be developed over time, so it's not three guys making all the money all the time. But you know, I was talking to Berto about that. I said, you know, the biggest problem is right now is, you know, the massive amount of money these main eventers are making in boxing. Like, there's nothing left for anybody else. This is crazy. $100 million fights. We don't need $100 million fights. We need.
I know.
The UFC doesn't do that because the UFC has big rosters and they make stars out of everybody. People complain about UFC pay, and I'm like, yeah, they probably should pay more. But at the same time, I know these guys, and if they paid more, half these guys would be in jail. So it's like they're all maniacs. But, you know, you have to have, there's got to be some kind of like structure and balance to it. And I think Zuffa Boxing, if boxing community accepts it, it'll be really interesting. And DBX is one thing, boxing's another. I don't think they're competitive sports. I think they're so different. Like, I feel like DBX really has a place where it's not a competitor with anybody. It could do its own thing. And,
I mean, yeah, I guess
cool.
it is. It isn't. It isn't. It feels like it does compete with MMA the most directly,
BKFC.
or BKFC for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
Yeah,
You gave me goosebumps when you said Perry versus Jake Paul.
Think about that.
Yeah,
We got to talk to some people. We know
I'll be
people.
there.
We
I'll
know
do it.
people. You'll be very close to the action, and hopefully I will too. So,
Yeah. Man.
DBX 5, we're going into DBX 6, Nashville in March.
Yep.
I want to see what DBX like 50 is going to be.
Yes, totally. Couldn't agree more.
I want it to be in like Abu Dhabi or something too, different.
DBX 100.
I'll be dead.
That'd be crazy. No, we're gonna crank them out now. Like we're all systems go with DBX.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of shows this year. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun ride. My kids
Can't
are
wait,
going to
man.
miss a lot of school.
This is his school. This is his school.
Okay, yeah, agreed. Okay, last one I'll just throw out. The principal of his school was really cool because she said education is not something that you can fit in a box.
Yeah.
It's something that's different for each kid. And I was like, we have a good opportunity here. That's great. The fact that they respect the alternative path that he's going to take is really cool, as long as he gets good grades. He's on honor roll, so Brian's cool. So it's all good. But the one that'll be interesting, so March, Brian will probably be there with me in March. But if we do one in April, my other son may come too. And then you get to meet Wright Reed. And my 7-year-old is an interesting little man. He's very different than Brian. So be prepared. His questions are a little different.
Give me the quick elevator pitch of how each boy is different.
Well, Brian's like Brian's like the oldest 12-year-old you've ever met.
Totally.
Brian understands. Brian's very detail oriented. He nerds out on all information. When he likes something, he finds out everything about it. He remembers it. He has like an encyclopedia of information when it comes to all the different sports. So he went to dinner with us that one time when we sat there.
Yeah.
We walked out of that and he said, I think that was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, to be able to sit there with adult professionals and listen to them speak about their life and the things they do. Like, he just loved absorbing the information.
Wow.
Where Reed would have been like, okay, I'm bored. Where are we going? What are we going to do? Reed's attention span's much shorter. He likes to be the center of attention, where Brian likes to ask the questions and be interactive, where Reed likes to be the star of the show a little bit more. But yeah, Reed's attention's different. His emotions run a little bit hotter, and he likes to be the star.
And he's still young, right?
He's 7.
He's 7.
I think Mike Perry and Reed would get along really well. Where Brian and Mike probably wouldn't survive a meal together.
Right. Dude, I love what you're doing with Brian. I mean, at only 12 years old, you are already putting him in a position. And as a 12-year-old, it's really cool that he already has like an idea of a path that he wants to follow. You're sowing some seeds that are likely going to like grow before he can even have like his first legal drink. He's going to be like a name in MMA journalism before he's 20.
Before he's legal. It's crazy. Crazy. The only thing, so I was fortunate when I was young. My mother traveled a lot where she had to go overseas a lot. And so she would go to France and she'd go to Italy to buy merchandise. She's a lifelong retailer. And she brought me along. She brought my father when my parents were married. We went. And I was afforded the opportunity to see the world at a young age. And I've always felt that if I've ever had an opportunity to bring anyone out of where they are to see beyond their borders and realize this is this big, amazing planet we live on with so many opportunities. And that's why I think my career in so many ways has been what it is. And my relationships with people are what they are. But with my son, I was like, I can't go do stuff and not bring my family along. Like, I want my wife to come. I want my kids to come. We have to get beyond the borders of where we are, and we've got to enjoy this life. So, yeah. I mean, I fought in 13 countries between 24 and 27.
Wow. 3 years? 4 years? Holy smokes.
In like a 4-year period. I went to 13 different countries.
Man. That's so cool. And you brought them?
Well, no. That's when I was younger.
Oh, that's when you realized. Okay.
I got to see the world. And
totally.
then for me now, I mean, when I was 24, I'm fighting overseas. Now going to be 52. I'm like, I get to go back to all these places as the coach, as a commentator or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to share the experiences that I had. I want the young people to get off their phones and get out in the world and see stuff. And that's the thing. So yeah, for me, it's like, people keep telling me, I'm like, oh, you're doing this great thing with your kid. And I'm like, I'm just paying it forward, man. I was afforded a really amazing life. My parents they afforded me an opportunity when I was younger that, I'll be eternally grateful for, and I just want to give that back to other people. So yeah, I just want to pay it forward.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sir, we have been going, and I've really enjoyed this. We definitely have to do this again because
for sure.
There's just so many different things going on. When they release the next card, we should hop on again and we should talk. I would love to get Jason involved in a conversation.
Yeah, man. They announce the card. We'll look into the fighters, their backgrounds, what they're going to bring, what styles are going to clash, and let's chop it up, man.
Let's chop it up.
Love it. I could do this all night.
So, I appreciate you hopping on, taking the time. And how cold is it out there?
Oh, dude, it's like in the 40s now here in Michigan, and it feels glorious.
We hit 40 this week as well. We have not had winters like this forever in New Jersey. And I mean, we've been at like 10 degrees for the last like 2 months. And it hit 40 the other day. And I was like, it's like summertime. I want to take my coat off.
It feels like so 70.
Wild. My God. I hope Nashville's a little bit warmer. Houston was nice. Not bad. Houston was like springtime.
Colder than I thought it was going to be down in Houston. But I think that was also like
it was -5. Yeah. It was -5 when I left. And then I got to Houston. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. So, yeah. Yeah, man. All right, sir.
All right, brother.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for hopping on. So
thanks for having me on.
This is Brian Wright with
Michael Hanson.
And we are out.